Joining me now, Democratic Congressman Krishnamoorthi of Illinois. He is a member of the House Intelligence and Oversight Committees and a good friend to us. Welcome back to the broadcast, sir. So let's begin with this delay in the hostage release. The families, as you hear, they're calling on the international community to help. Have you had any intel briefings on the situation? I'm curious what you can tell us as well, if you know anything about the Americans still being held hostage.
Nothing beyond the published reports so far. We'll be getting that on Monday, Alex, when we go back to Washington. But, you know, I just saw the United Nations statement that was released a moment ago, basically calling for the immediate release of all the hostages. I mean, Hamas is on very little standing at this point to complain about the order in which hostages have been released. We don't know whether their complaints are a pretext or whether there's actual truth in their complaints. But we have to get to a situation where this truce continues and all the hostages are released.
Oh, 100%. What about Israel and Hamas? The fact that they agreed to this temporary ceasefire, but both sides, of course, say fighting is going to continue when the pause expires. Israel's military goal is to completely eradicate Hamas. Is that possible?
I don't know, but I am very focused on a certain condition that the parties agreed to, which is to extend the ceasefire by a day for every additional 10 hostages that are released. And I'm very hopeful.
Where did you get those details? Is that something intelligence that you were given?
No, that's something that apparently is part of the agreement. It's now been kind of stipulated by the parties. And I think that this is something that I'm very hopeful that people seize upon to extend this ceasefire.
Okay, so I just want to reiterate that because it is news to me. You've heard that 10 hostages could be released by Hamas, and I'm presuming for a same number prisoner exchange of Palestinian prisoners, and that each day that would extend by this temporary ceasefire?
Well, one modification of what you said, which is that the kind of exchange or what they've agreed to is 3 Palestinian prisoners being released for every 1 hostage that has been taken by Hamas. But for every 10 hostages that are released by Hamas, the ceasefire would extend by 1 day.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. And just for all of you looking to the left of our screen, just went black. That said, we were looking at hundreds having gathered there in Tel Aviv, protesting the slow pace and wanting the international community to keep up the pressure as we have those pictures restored there. You can about imagine, can I ask you how much this is on the minds of Congress? Certainly it was there preceding the Thanksgiving break, and you said you'll be getting a briefing on Monday. So how much is this top of mind for our lawmakers?
Very much so. I think that we're receiving calls from people who are very concerned, obviously, about the plight of Palestinians and the death and destruction that's occurring in Gaza. But also we're being contacted by numerous people who are concerned about the plight of the hostages and also accountability for Hamas and what it did on October 7th. So this is something that is very much a topic of discussion and concern for many of us in Congress right now.
And it comes to money as well, sir, and military aid, because as you know, the president is asking Congress to approve $14.3 billion on top of the $3.8 billion annually that the U.S. provides to Israel, with very few strings attached. There was an op-ed written this week by Senator Bernie Sanders, who wrote, "The blank check approach must end. The United States must make clear that while we are friends of Israel, there are conditions to that friendship and that we cannot be complicit in actions that violate international law and our own sense of decency." So the question is Senator Sanders right?
Well, in concept, yes, to the extent that no aid right now is unconditioned. As Deputy National Security Advisor Feiner, who's the president's Deputy National Security Advisor, said the other day, you know, all aid to Israel and to other countries is conditioned on American law. That being said, I do think that there's concern in Congress about what's happening in the West Bank, especially with regard to the settlers and the settler violence toward Palestinians. But there's also concern about conditions that the Republicans placed the other day on aid to Israel, namely conditioning it on defunding the IRS, which is a completely partisan consideration. So I think that there's talk on all sides about this particular issue, and so we have to sort it out when we go back. But I'd just like to say one last thing, which is this aid to Israel has to also move with aid to Ukraine as well as aid to the Indo-Pacific region. Our adversaries are looking at how we treat all of these aid packages in totality as they make their own moves. And so as the eyes of the world are upon us, we have to perform in a way that guards our national security and those of our friends and allies.
I'm very glad you made that statement. I think it is pretty much across the board in the Democratic Party with our lawmakers in Congress. They believe that the aid to Ukraine should continue. As you are well aware, I don't have to tell you that the Republicans in Congress right now are not really even talking about it. So it is a dire time on both fronts. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday, and I'll look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.